Hello and welcome to the Feminine Millionaire Show. I'm your host, Polly Alexander. I'm a success coach, healer, creative, and future millionaire. If creating money and success in a spiritual and feminine and joyful way is your goal, this show is for you. Let's all rise together. Hello and welcome to today's episode. Money is an infinite resource. Money and abundance is one of my favourite topics to dive into. We've had many episodes on this show around these topics, and there'll be many more to come. But when I say money is an infinite resource, what do you think when you hear that? I'm going to start by sharing what came up for me. Money is an infinite resource. So the first image I get is my father. There I am, a little girl, and he's counting pennies. He used to keep an old camera film canister in his car when I was a child, and he'd keep coins in there for parking meters. So those of you old enough to remember when we used to put film in cameras, 35mm cameras would have little rolls of film that would come in plastic canisters. And he used to reuse these to put his coins in. And whenever he got out this little plastic canister and opened it up, he would always say something along the lines of, "Take care of the pennies, the pounds take care of themselves. Every little counts." And my requests for some money for sweets would be invariably declined. "That's for Sundays," he would say. Sundays were when I was given 20 pence for the weekly trip to the newsagents to buy the Sunday papers and 1/8 of an ounce of bonbons, those round, sweet, sugary covered toffees covered with pink or white dust. The message I got from a very early age was money is scarce. It's hard to come by. It's not always available. You need to be very careful and spend as little as possible. I was constantly told we can't afford it. My father grew up during the Second World War in the UK, when everything was hard to come by. One of his favourite stories he recounted when we were children is how he had his first banana. I think it was for his birthday, and it was a prized possession at that time of wartime rationing. His very reality during his formative years, up to the age of 6, was not enough. Never enough. Hard to come by. This programming was embedded deep in his cells. It was just his reality. And no matter how much more affluent he would become in his adult life and later in life, unchallenged, this money mindset stayed with him. And when I reflect on my own path and that abundance and money mindset would one day become my specialty and my superpower, I can see how divinely aligned it was in retrospect that I would have this experience around money for the early years of my life. So often we learn through opposites. And that is exactly how it was for me. By seeing, experiencing, and feeling one reality and one way of being, I was motivated to seek out another reality, another way of being. Just like you, listening here now, a part of me, however small, deep down knew there was a better way, knew that a different reality somewhere, somehow was available for me. A part of me, however small, knew there was a bigger truth available. Maybe you've also found this in your own life. You've created the opposite of what you desired to experience. And the old way was a motivation on a soul level for seeking out a better way. But really, all of us conscious souls here now, which includes you listening to this podcast, all of us are here to seek a better way. We incarnated at this tumultuous time in history to bring in a better way of doing, a better way of being to the world. So back to money. I always love bringing it back to money. Why? Because money is an energy that we can play with, we can work with, we can create with, we can use to support us in creating that better way in the world. Money is a tool to create abundant experiences in life, and it's a powerful tool to make a difference in the world. We can direct the energy of money to wherever and whatever we choose. Money is a tool of creation. Money is fun and it's energizing. And the more money that we can get in the hands of good people, the more good happens in the world. Money truly can be a force for good. So when you say yes to going for more, when you say yes to transforming your relationship with money, when you say yes to clearing your money blocks, you are actually saying yes to becoming more you. You are actually saying yes to making more of an impact in the world through your gifts and your resources. If you run a business, all you have to do is find a problem to solve, and solving that problem will bring you money. And the more value there is in the result, the more you'll be able to charge. However, most people are in a scarcity mindset, and they think that they have to compete and struggle for their share of money and resources. And they live in fear of running out of money. The belief is that money is hard to make and hard to hold on to. They think spending as little as possible and saving as much as possible is the path to riches and safety. So how do we know that money is an infinite resource, even when we can't see it or perhaps are not currently experiencing it in our own lives? I want to share a quote from Wallace D. Wattles from one of my favourite books, The Science of Getting Rich. No man is poor because nature is poor, or because there is not enough to go round. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. The visual supply is practically inexhaustible, and the invisible supply really is inexhaustible. Everything on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. There is no limit to the supply of formless stuff or original substance. If individuals are poor, it's because they do not follow the certain way of doing things that make the individual man rich. What does that actually mean? Well, it means that for each of us, it's our responsibility to manage our beliefs and our thoughts and our actions, and that we have the power within us to constantly be creating abundance and riches. Ideas lead to money, and there is no shortage of ideas. You can always create more. You have access to that limitless resource that is your mind, and you also have equal access to source. Between your connection to source and your own mind, you can continually generate new ideas. source, the universe or God, the source of all ideas and wisdom. You have the same access as everyone else. And as you learn to open up your connection to your intuition, you will receive guidance, ideas, inspiration, synchronicities, a true abundance of support and ideas. So, how can you get more into this infinite mindset? Here's 6 ways. Now, if you're in your 30s or older, the chances are you've already been through an experience where the money ran out, or you thought the money was going to run out and the fear and the terror was very real. But the fact that you're here now means you made it through and you lived to tell the tale. And so you can look back on these times and see that they're an example of how the universe is always providing for you. So when you thought there was a finite supply and it was going to run out and you were going to end up on the streets homeless, it didn't happen. You made it to where you are now. So reframe your past. The second way to get into this infinite mindset is to spend time in infinite environments. Now, for me, that means spending time in nature. There's something about looking at the trees in a forest or looking out at the sea that instantly connects me to the infinite nature of abundance in our world, to the infinite possibility. So as I record this for you now, it is a cloudy, almost stormy day here in Ibiza, and I can see the wind blowing in the trees, the big pine trees. Ibiza is the island of pines. And I can see the sea, the choppy waves, the white crests of the waves crashing against the rocks of the coastline. I can see the sea in its majesty, its beauty, and the sea fades out into the distance. I can't even see the horizon. I have this feeling of infinite possibility. The third way you can get into this more infinite mindset is through constant exposure to the concept. So you're being exposed to this now. So it could be listening to this episode again and again. It could be reading books like Science of Getting Rich again and again. I've read it over 200 times now. In fact, my copy's fallen apart. The glue in the spine has finally given up. And what will happen is the more you're exposed to this concept, the more it'll go in deeper, the deeper it'll go in. The fourth thing you can do is clear the blocks to your flow so that you can experience more of this infinite flow. So when you clear your money blocks, there's less in the way of this awareness being embodied inside you. Yeah, things can flow more, which brings me on to the fifth way to get more into this infinite mindset, and that's to allow money to flow. When you hold on tightly to money and you restrict your spending overly, or you are in fear around spending, you hoard money, that gives you the feeling of scarcity. Usually when people hoard or are afraid to spend, it's because of fear. It's because they're in fear that more won't come in, that there won't be enough in the future. So whilst there is a purpose to saving and investing, absolutely, be curious around what energy are you holding on to money. Is it an abundant energy because you're excited to have it support you or invest it or grow it or have a buffer? Or is it because you're scared it won't come in the future, or you feel you're not worthy of spending this, or you have hidden money rules that say you shouldn't spend too much money? So when you allow money to flow, you get in that infinite flow. You allow it to flow with faith that more is always on its way. And the last way I'm going to share is to watch your thoughts, words, and actions. So, for example, when you're handing money over in a store and buying something, check in. Does this feel good? Am I handing it over with faith that it will benefit the person I'm giving it to, that it's a fair exchange for what I'm receiving, and that I feel good about letting go of money because I'm going to receive something great and I know more is on its way. And if you have to pay for something you really don't want to, try and shift your energy before you make the payment so that you're in a good energy and you know that money is blessing someone else's life when you hand it over. It's blessing the shop assistant and enabling them to earn money and put food on the table for their family. It's blessing the people that made the products in the store and enabling them to make money, put food on the table for their families. Many, many people are blessed when we spend money and when we actively engage in that flow. So I hope today's episode has been thought-provoking and supportive for you. And I invite you into this new reality where money is an infinite resource. If you enjoyed today's episode, you are going to love my Money Magnet Toolkit. This is a pack of 2 powerful energetic meditations, a morning meditation you can use each day to manifest and attract more abundance, and an energy clearing to create a new energetic paradigm around money. These are yours for free. Go to pollyalexander.com/money magnet to sign up, or click on the link in the show notes. As always, thank you for being here and have a wildly abundant week. See you back here again next week. Bye for now.